Hey, so today this is going to be a short one just telling you how to edit your photos. So if you already have seen these two videos, then this will be helpful because this shows you how to edit your photos on your phone. So my favorite app to do this in is a color story, and I think maybe it costs, I don't know, it's not too much, but it's so worth it. So I get a color story. There's different options. You can use Lightroom, Visco. There's all sorts of photo editing apps on your phone. But I'm just going to tell you how to do the editing. Just simple editing. You're going to hit new. Then you're going to go into your photos. Okay. Just find an unedited one. That will do. Okay. Now we're going to go to adjust. And I don't think you need to get into all the other stuff at first. I think just if you're just starting, just go to adjust and use these little things. You can definitely experiment, but also experimenting can sometimes cause problems because you kind of get into the color correction mode and you might go a little crazy. So I would just stay with the simple, like brightness. We'll go over it, but stick with this at first, I would say. If you're enjoying this video, let me know by hitting the like button below. All right, so now I'm not going to tell you what each of these things are because you can Google that if you want. But curves, I like to just up it a little bit, like that. Now, I just remembered this halfway through, but if you have your phone on night mode, or it might automatically go on night mode, you have to go in and make sure that you turn it off night mode while you're editing your photos. Same with if you're in a dark room and you have your brightness down, make sure you fix that before you start editing your photos or you're going to forget and over edit. So night shift, turn that off. Or else it seems like your photos have that warm look to it. All right, up the curves a little bit. Contrast, I like to just move that over a touch. Do you see how little I'm moving things? So these photos were taken in artificial light. Like I have the lighting equipment that I told you about in this photo. But if you're using natural light, you might not even have to edit this much. So I don't do the exact same things I'm doing. But if you're using the same lighting every single time, stick with the same editing every time. If it's controlled lighting. Brightness, I like to up that just a touch. Now, I'm going to go back and show you what curves. Ugh. See? Just don't go crazy with it or else you do kind of just blow out all the colors. That's why I like to just do a touch and then go around and mess with all the other things. And then if I still want it to be a little brighter, sometimes I'll go in and adjust that more. But I would just do a little bit at a time for each thing. And then you can go back in and do a little more each time. Now, clarity, I don't mess with that because that gives it such a creepy look. If you have a blurry photo, adjusting the clarity is not going to fix that. If there's a little bit of blur, that could help. But if you have a blurry photo, you'll have to retake it. That will not help. If you'd like, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it to be notified whenever I come out with a new video. Contrast, I see this a lot. People putting the contrast up way too high. That's another one that just a touch. Same with the brightness. As tempting as it is to have a really bright light photo, look how blown out that looks where it's just like the white just looks too bright. See what I mean? You just want to touch. And each of these things will together make it look good. You don't have to do a lot of one. Saturation, just a little bit. Now I go over to exposure and just up that a little bit. I usually don't touch these other things, the high colors or the highlights, but you can kind of mess around and see what that does. Same with the tint. I usually don't mess with the tint. It kind of turns things, you can use it to turn things like a more magenta or more green. I don't have a need for that. Temperature. This will kind of vary based on the lighting you're using, but that can sometimes be a good thing. If you're using artificial lighting and you have such a cold, like undertone of blue in your photo, then you could use this temperature to just warm it up a little bit. But if you're using natural lighting, like I recommend in the other video, you shouldn't have to mess with that. It should already have kind of a warm light from the sun. It is tempting though to push the warmth all the way up because it does give it that kind of like home and country look, but you got to be careful with food. Okay, let's do another. I'll do another example of ones with different colors so you can kind of see how to see and compare them. Okay, so this one has not been edited yet. And this is using like the lighting from this video. That's pretty good lighting, pretty good artificial lighting. So if you have a lot of really good light and a good camera, you're not going to have to do a lot of editing. I don't have a really good camera, but I don't have really good lighting either, but it's better than what I had before. Ideally, you wouldn't have to edit too much, but if you're just starting out and you're using your iPhone and like window light or something like that, it is nice to have this to just kind of brighten the photo up and make the colors pop a little bit. So this is unedited. We're going to go to curves, just up a touch. See how that already just kind of brightens it up. Okay, contrast, brightness. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I like to do saturation up just a little bit to kind of make those colors come out. And then a little bit of the exposure. Now, cropping, I usually do 4x5 for Instagram. I mean, instead of square now. Whenever I did my iPhone, I used to shoot square, but now I do 4x, I make it a little longer. I don't edit it while I'm taking the photo. I edit it after, I crop it after the photo. So I bring it in here and then do 4x5 so I can kind of pick where, like what's going to be in the photo. See? So there, that looks kind of good. And then that's it. Just save. So see, it's really easy, and I see a lot of under-edited photos. I wouldn't say under-edited, but dull-looking photos. But then I see a lot of ones that are way too bright, and people have upped the brightness, and it just looks blown out and too bright. And you can't see a lot of the details because it's way too bright. So just little tiny micro edits should do the trick. And you can always go back in and add some more. Oh, and then you can also save your editing steps and use it as a preset. So you can make your own editing step preset. So if you're shooting with the same lighting every time you take a photo, then you can use this and just put your photos in and then hit your preset, and it will automatically put all of those little adjustments you did on there. And that's a great way to stay consistent on your Instagram feed. So I really recommend that. But if you're using natural light, you kind of have to make sure you're taking the pictures around the same time of day if you want to use that preset. Or you can put times on it. If you know that you're going to be taking pictures at 4 p.m. every day, and you also take them at 9 a.m. every day, then you can make a 9 a.m. preset and a 4 p.m. preset or whatever. So just keep that in mind, that will have a different lighting effect on your photos. So then you'll have to kind of adjust your presets. All right. Do you have any other editing questions? I see a lot of people using Lightroom for mobile, but it does seem like they're going in the direction of charging now more. So I wanted to stay away from that, and this is just a simple way to edit your photos on your phone. I have Lightroom and Photoshop and all that stuff. I still take my photos with this camera and then bring them on over to my phone and then edit them in this app. So I really like this app, even with the other options. It's just easier, I think, and I can do it faster. If you want to learn more about stuff like this and how to start your own home bakery, join the email list below, and I have a course called the Home Bakery Blueprint where you can work with me to open your own or grow your own home bakery business. So join the email list below and I will send you more information about that. And if you're still having trouble making macarons, join the Michelle's Macarons Facebook group and post your pictures in there of all your steps along the way, and we will help you out. If you'd like, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll put those links below. And check out these other macaron videos. Okay, love you, bye.